Yes, Yvonne's twice and O level. We started this chapter that day. We have almost done 3 or 4 pages. So the main, in the beginning, we read out like how the governor, he convinces the secretary of the examination for the conduct of O-level examination in the jail. It is in the cell itself for Yvonne's. And this person also agrees and wants to know like what kind of person Evans is. And the governor tells him that Evans is a pleasant sort of person with no record of violence against him, and even adds that he was an expert in he was a star in concerts, Mike Yarwood stuff, and moreover he tells him about one thing that must be kept in mind, that is he's a kleptomaniac, that is he has a tendency to steal things. So otherwise there is nothing there is nothing against him much. So in the jail itself, afterwards we come to know that before the conduct of the examination, the governor has made 100% security arrangements. And those arrangements are so sound that no one can enter the cell or no one can leave the prison, Oxford prison, without the knowledge of the authorities. Means security arrangements are very, 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 very tight. So very good security arrangements are there. And moreover, the place, the D wing, where the examination will be conducted, there also, in that specific area, the special arrangements have been made. For example, number 1, Evans was kept incommunicado. So Evans was not in contact with anyone outside, or even that means this person could not contact anyone. He could not get any information from outside, nor could he send his information outside, right? So then Mr. Stephens and Mr. Jackson, these two security guards, these two prison officers have been kept on guard against this Evans. Okay, in the room, Evans would be appearing for the exam. With him, one McCleary, that is invigilator, would be there. And outside that very room, Stephens and Jackson's two prison officers, okay, they would be put up on duty. They will be on duty and they'll be on toes. Then Evans' cell was checked thoroughly against any weapon. So this also is very important for us to know, because we are reading a detective story and we need to know like what went wrong. Okay, so, but we are told that before the examination started, before Evans was sent inside for the examination, he was thoroughly checked. Each and everything which could prove any danger, that was taken away from him. For example, the nail filer was taken away from him. Okay, the scissors or the shaving products, whatever could prove dangerous, they had all been taken away from him. So he had nothing. Only one thing they allowed him to go inside. That was a bobbled hat. That was one dirty hat, red and white dirty hat, which he was wearing on that particular day, and he said that it was his lucky charm. So he asked permission to go inside with that hat, and he was given the permission. Only that thing was there. Otherwise, that is not a dangerous thing. Can somebody kill somebody? Can somebody do any harm to anyone with only a bobbled hat? I guess no one can do this. How can a simple hat prove disastrous? That's why the prison officers, Stephens and Jackson, did not object to his carrying the hat inside. Is that clear? So then another person who will be going inside will be McCleary, the invigilator. Even he will be frisked thoroughly from head to toe, and he would not have anything except one objectionable object. That one objectionable object would be, so here with Evans, we have so far come to know that he went inside with a hat. That was not at all, we cannot think like it was disastrous or it could prove dangerous. But somehow we should know, we should keep in mind that he had that. Then McCleary was also allowed one objectionable object, that was he had a rubber tube. So he had one rubber tube, okay, something which resembled like a swimming tube, which the beginners use to get help while swimming. So it was that kind of rubber tube which he had, and when these officers asked McLeary like why he had it, then he explained that he wanted the rubber tube to sit on. So because he had some problem in sitting, he had a problem. So he wanted this rubber tube to sit on comfortably. So that this made McLeary get a little, embarrassed. And even Stephens and Jackson, they did not want him to get embarrassed. So they allowed McLeary to keep rubber tube with him. So it was one objectionable object, this. Otherwise, you can also again make out like a rubber tube. How can it also be, how can it be used for, either harming somebody or other? So this much we have read. So we were talking about the precautions which had been taken to for the smooth conduct of events. So this is a very famous question also, and we should know this in the beginning. Otherwise, we won't be able to find out like what went wrong in the story. Like how was Evans able to deceive or cheat the governor and all authorities, right? So we and moreover, furthermore things are there, like when examination would be conducted, then Stephens and Jackson, those who will be just outside the very room, then Jackson would be on duty. Then these two people would be on duty to peer inside after every 1 minute. But later on, they will think like they are overdoing. So they would be like peering inside after every 2 minutes. Okay, then after when the examination would be over, when last 5 minutes would be left, then Jackson would be called outside. He would be called in to attend a phone call for 5 minutes. So the person who would be peering inside after every 2 minutes, that person was out of the sight for 5 minutes. So what might have happened during those 5 minutes, right? Right? And moreover, we have to be very careful when we are reading, then we have to understand the Scots accent of McLeary. Okay. So the way McLeary would speak, that would be in Scots accent. So that accent will also give us some clue. Okay. That day also I told you like there are certain, there are so many like instances where the writer Colin Dexter has tried to distract us from the main action. So we might get misled from judging like what went wrong. Got it? Okay, now let's start. We were already at page number. So this we had read. So the teacher had come. So we have also been given hints side by side. Okay, this German teacher wishes him good luck for his paper in German, and Evans did not understand that much. So in the very beginning, we as readers should be able to make out like Evans doesn't know German at all. Even then he is so, he's talking about like a good luck for a paper. That's why he's carrying a lucky charm and all. So the purpose is very clear in the very beginning for us, for the readers, that he had no concern about clearing the paper. His main aim might be to escape from jail. Had he been serious about clearing the paper, then he might have at least known the simplest things of German. And moreover, he was not tensed. And moreover, he gave one, evidence that he might surprise everybody. I might surprise everybody, he says. So here was a hint also. So where the writer has talked about the security arrangements made by the authorities, side by side, the writer is also telling us the loopholes in the system. What loopholes are there? They are not even bothering like the person who is coming to this person daily to teach him German. They didn't bother to know his whereabouts. Okay, we have not been told anywhere like whether this coach was security checked daily or not. Okay, so then this page also we read out, like he was given half an hour to smarten himself, and afterwards it was made sure that his all things like razor, nail filer have all been taken away. Then afterwards we have also been told that he was kept incommunicado. So here is a talk about his hat. Okay, then here we were in this paragraph we will read about Stuart McLeary. McLeary is an invigilator who will come to invigilate Evans. So McLeary, an outsider, is coming to invigilate the paper. And I don't feel like giving you any clue, but you have to be very clear. Like, is this real McLeary who is coming in as the examiner or as invigilator or not? If he is a real examiner, then how will Evans be able to hoodwink the authorities? If it is not the real one, then how come he is not the real one? Where are the clues to see whether this Reverend McLeary is real one or not? So let's see now. So at 8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart McLeary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street and stepped out briskly towards Carfax. Now at 8:45, okay? The examination will start at about 9:10. So at 8:45, this invigilator left his flat. Where was it? In Broad Street. And he started walking towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June. So as far as the weather forecast was concerned, the weather was like reported to be below normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle, which had set in half an hour earlier. So about at 8:15, it might have started drizzling. So this man, this McLeary had put on, what was he wearing? A long black overcoat. You have to be very careful about his dress. He was wearing a long black overcoat and a shallow crowned clerical hat. Okay, two things, a long black overcoat, and plus he was wearing a shallow crowned clerical hat, provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle, which had set half an hour earlier, and which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. So he was wearing one long overcoat, black colored, and then he was wearing a clerical hat plus spectacles. Okay, spattered. So those raindrops, this scattered on the thick lenses of his spectacles. So he was wearing thick lensed spectacles. So remember these three things. In his right hand, he was carrying a small brown suitcase, which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak to the Women's Guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth, and a current copy of the Church Times. So these things were there in his bag. You can read out those things again, and you should know like what these things are. Okay, so far whatever we have here, we have been given the description of what was there in his bag. Got it? And later on, when we will see, when jail authorities will check his bag, we will see whether these very things are there in the bag or something else is also there. We'll see that. The 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. Evans was lathering his face vigorously when Stephens brought in 2 small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other a distempered stone wall. So what happened? So Evans was getting ready, he was shaving himself when Stephens brought in 2 small square tables. So Stephens brought 2 small tables, okay, one for Evans and the other for invigilator, and he set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and one on the other distempered stone wall. So he kept the tables opposite to each other. Next, Stephens brought in 2 hard chairs the slightly less battered on which he placed in front of the table, which stood nearer the cell door. So he brought 2 chairs for the tables, right? Jackson put in a brief final appearance. Behave yourself, Freddy. So Jackson came inside just to show himself, and he gave the warning to the Evans, like he must behave. Evans turned and nodded. And these, so see now this is a dialogue of Evans, and these, Jackson pointed to the pinups off, and these off. And these off, sorry. So Jackson pointed out that these pinups should be removed. Them down and them down anyway, a minister, isn't he? Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take them down anyway, a minister, isn't he? So Evans said, yes, don't worry. I was already about to remove the pins. Don't worry that I won't be taking these pins inside for my examination. And moreover, a minister, isn't he? The chap coming to sit in, I mean, so see, this thing, a minister, isn't he? The chap coming to sit in, I mean. So Evans is confirming that the person who is coming as invigilator, isn't he a minister? Now they see the point. And how did you know that? Asked Jackson quietly. So now the question for Jackson was like, how did Evans know this? So Evans was giving the right information. And Jackson asked quietly, like, how did you know this? Well, I had to sign some forms, didn't I? And I couldn't help reading the things. So immediately this Evans could tell the reason, could tell the source from where he got to know. But the point is, the point is Jackson or the prison officers should have got one more alert when they realized that Evans knew from who is coming as the invigilator. How could Evans know this? He was total incommunicado. He was not in contact with anyone. Then how could he have the information as to who is coming to invigilate him? That was a top level secret, but the criminal himself knew this, and authorities are least bothered. So the authorities are least bothered about the leakage of information. So then, and moreover, he's giving an excuse that yes, when I was signing the documents and from there I got it. Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek. So Ivan was raising, he was shaving himself and left a neat swath in white leather. Can I ask you something, Mr. Jackson? So now Evans had one more question. Why did they have to bug me in the cell? Why did they have to bug me in the cell? Bug me, why have they kept me incommunicado? Bugged means like they have kept a microphone in the room. So where Jackson is going to appear, in that room there is a microphone. Okay, microphone enables, you all understand, I guess. Microphone enables the person outside with whomsoever that connection of the microphone is, that person will be able to overhear whatever would be discussed or spoken in that room. Okay, so microphone enables the sounds of this room pass over to the person with whom the connection of that microphone is to get all information. So he said, like, why have they bugged me in the cell? He nodded his head vaguely to a point above the door. So he pointed out towards a microphone which was kept in his room. Not a very neat job, conceded Jackson. They are not. They don't honestly think I'm going to try to. So Jackson accepted that it was not a very neat job. Like when you are going to buck somebody up, when you're going to make somebody, when you're going to record somebody's all, chats, you would not tell him beforehand, isn't it? So if the person comes to know that I am being observed or I'm being heard carefully, I'm being listened to, then the person will become very careful. So here again, second lapse in the security system. So this person was bucked up, but it was of no use because he knew this. Now the question arises again, how did this Evans know this? If he knew this, then the arrangement was not good. It was of no use. Okay, the better way to observe somebody, the better way to record somebody's chats is not letting him know this. But when you have told him that we are observing you, will that person give you a solid information from his conduct? Okay, so another information which we have got that will help this Evans to escape from the jail. Okay, not a very neat job, considered Jackson. They are not means they don't honestly think I'm going to try to, they are taking no chances, Evans. Nobody in his senses would take any chance with you. Who is going to listen in? See the question. Who is going to listen in? So each question of Evans is very, very important. Evan is very focused, whereas the security officers, Jackson, Stephen, and even others, they will not bother about the details. Even their answers have no, you can say, clear-cut focus, but his questions have. Now he wants to know, like, when he will speak, who is listening to him. I'll tell you who is going to listen in that. It's the governor himself. See, he don't trust you a bloody inch, and nor do I. I'll be watching you like a hawk, Evans. So keep your nose clear. He walked towards the door. So this man, he asked, like, who will listen to him? Like, who has got the connection of the microphone? And the answer is given to him that the governor himself will listen to you like everything. And moreover, I will be observing you like a hawk. So you won't have any chance to escape from the jail. So be, focused. Now Evans nodded. He had already thought of that, and number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk. So children, each and every line is very, very important. Evan nodded. He had already thought of that. He had already thought of that, and number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk, a neatly folded square of white linen. He already knew this, that he might be listened to very carefully by the governor. And now he saw that his number 2 hanky was lying on the table. It was what kind of handkerchief? It was a neatly folded square of white linen. Just one more thing, Einstein. Who is Einstein, children? This very boy, Evans. Just one more thing, Einstein. Yeah, what's that? Good luck, old son. In the little lodge just inside the prison's main gates, the Reverend S. McLeary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book. Okay, now children, now on the other end of the prison, we see the entry of McLeary, the invigilator. Got it? Now McLeary is coming. Now let's see how McLeary comes. We have seen how McLeary left his flat, what he had in his bag. And now we will see McLeary, the way he will come here now. In the little lodge just inside the prison's main gates, the Reverend S. McLeary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book and thence walked side by side with a silent prison officer across the exercise yard to the D wing, where he was greeted by Jackson. The wing's heavy outer door was unlocked and the lock behind them. The heavy inner door the same, and McLeary was handed into Stephen's keeping. Okay, now McLeary, number 1, when he entered the main gate, there he signed some, visitor book. Afterwards, a silent prison officer escorted him and made him cross the exercise yard, and they reached the D wing. Okay, at the D wing, Jackson greeted him, and then the D wing's heavy outer door was unlocked, and after he entered, it was again locked. Okay, so at the D wing, there was a heavy outer door. The moment McLeary entered, that door was closed. And then heavy inner door, the same. Then inside also there was one more heavy door, and McLeary was handed into Stephen's keeping. So Jackson greeted him at the entrance of D wing, and then inside, he was handed over to Stephen's. Get the razor, murmured Jackson. So Jackson pointed out that to take the razor from McLeary. Let's see. Stephens nodded. Well, keep your eyes skinned clear. So Stephens nodded again, and McLeary, his feet clanging up the iron stairs, followed his new guide and finally stood before a cell door where Stephens opened the peephole and looked through. That's him, sir. So Stephen was shown Evans from the peephole. So that's him, sir. Who is sir here? McLeary. Evans, facing the door, sat quietly at the farther of the two tables, his whole attention riveted to a textbook of elementary German grammar. So from outside, this man, you know, who? From outside, McLeary saw Evans sitting exactly in front of the door. Okay, in front of the door and Evans was like, he was like totally engrossed and reading his grammar book of German. Now it was appearing as if he was dead keen on clearing his paper. Okay, so and you people can make out, like at that time, Evans might be knowing that he's being observed from outside, then he was looking very serious about his German grammar. Stephens took the key from its ring and the cell lock sprang back with a thudded metallic twang. So meanwhile, when this Evans was sent inside, from outside the door was locked. And now because McLeary had to go inside, so again this, Stephens, he opened the lock. Where were the keys? The keys were in his own pocket. It was 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver. He had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary little precaution. That was only fair. As if Evans wouldn't spot it. But wasn't it all a bit theatrical, schoolboyish almost? So children, here it was 9:10 p.m. when the governor switched on the receiver. Okay, receiver, you understand, phone call, landlines these are. So he instructed Jackson to give warning to Evans. So this kind of, so now Jackson would be giving warning to be fair, to be careful, not to try to cheat and all. So then this governor would also feel like they were doing something, they were overdoing the things. So wasn't it over theatrical, schoolboyish almost? How on earth was Evans going to try anything on today? Like, how was it possible that Evans would do something else except doing his paper and all? If he was so anxious to make another break, why in heaven's name hadn't he tried it from the recreational block? So if he wanted to escape, then he could have tried it out from the recreational block only. What happened in the recreational block, children? There, this Evans got ready. Okay, when he was given the time to smarten himself, to shave and all, then this Evans was in recreational block. From recreational block to this D-wing, he was brought in afterwards. So this is what the governor is thinking. Like, at this place, there is no chance that Evans would be able to escape. If anyway he wanted to escape, then he might have tried something in the recreational block only, because there he was not locked up. Then there he was given razor and nail filer and all. If he wanted to do something, he might have done something there. But here, no chance. Because number one, he has nothing dangerous with him. Number two, he is being locked up properly. And outside this D-wing also, there are two heavy metallic doors which have been locked up. How can he escape? And moreover, giving him warnings like that would be like behaving with him as if he were a schoolboy. So it would be just like a theatrical concept. Got it? So yes, children, time is running. We'll be doing one more class we have today. Please join well in time in the next period. All right, children? All right. Okay. Are you getting the story or not? Okay, join me the next period. Till then, have some fun.